Hello, my refutation is in response to the continuation of the Afghanistan and Iraq wars are negatively affecting the balance of the United States and the military, causing no progress against the Taliban. In Sonia's speech, her claims were, the first one was, the continuation of the wars are costing our already hurt economy and taking away from more positive attributes. The second one is the continuation of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq negatively affect the balance of our American soldiers. And her third claim was the Obama administration counterinsurgency plan to take on the Taliban has not improved the overall winning of the war on terrorism. My main focus for the refutation is on supporting claim number 3. The Obama administration counterinsurgency plan to take on the Taliban has not improved the overall winning of the war on terrorism. First, I would like to clear up that counterinsurgency and terrorism are two different things. As she stated in her third claim, she said that the counterinsurgency plan to take on the Taliban has not improved the overall winning on the war on terrorism. Well, that's because counterinsurgency is not the direct combat to terrorism. Counterinsurgency is efforts by an established government to defeat a rebellion aimed at overthrowing its authorities, and successful counterinsurgency provides security for and gains control of a general population. With the general population supporting the government, guerrilla army will greatly reduce in size, and since most soldiers are ordinary citizens. And that definition was from librarythinkquest.org, and that just means that counterinsurgency is helping the population as a whole to become more solid rather than directly attacking the terrorists themselves. Secondly, we cannot just abandon all counterinsurgency operations in Afghanistan, because Afghanistan still needs our presence so our current operations can be accomplished, so they can eventually become a democratic nation. And Army Colonel G.N.P. Gentile, Director of Military History at West Point, and a 2-tour combat veteran of Iraq, said that there are alternatives to current strategy. And in a web article from Washington Post, it states that General David Petraeus led the writing of a new counterinsurgency field manual with its emphasis on protecting local populations and helping build up indigenous institutions. It was in Defense Security Ronald Rumsfeld who, in 2005, directive wrote that stability operations are a core U.S. military mission that the Department of Defense shall be prepared to conduct and support. He added that such operations will receive a priority comparable to combat operations that remains the U.S. policy. And what he means by this is that we need to focus more of our attention to swaying the minds of the population through education and the construction of schools and financial assistance rather than directly fighting the Taliban. In conclusion, although the current counterinsurgency plans may not seem to be cost efficient or that effective, within time, the situation of Afghanistan will show benefits from our counterinsurgency plans. And as you guys all know, you can't win a war in one night, so everything takes time. So give it time.
All right, you laid out the advocate's main and secondary points, but you decide not to respond to the first and the second of those points. You're going to have to explain that this is a chain of argument and that the first 2 points basically don't matter if you are correct on the third point. I'm not sure you gave a very clear explanation about why that would be the case. You do, however, then focus on whether or not the counterinsurgency is going to work. You spend some time trying to define counterinsurgency as against counterterrorism, and I thought your explanation was okay, but what you need to explain is how the focus now currently is on counterinsurgency, and that General Petraeus' strategy, for instance, is having the desired effect, or it's going to have the desired effect. And I think that you don't really quite get to that. It stays at a very general level about what the past approach has been and how we've kind of migrated to this other strategy instead of some demonstration that that strategy is actually going to work. At one point you had several pieces of evidence from Petraeus and the other general, and then you were even quoting Donald Rumsfeld. And I wasn't quite sure how all of that information was supposed to fit together. At the end, you make a claim that says that it is, in fact, going to make a difference. And I think that's the clearest essence of that whole argument that you're making there. So the summary is a little bit better. On presentation things, you're very quiet when you're speaking. You have a tendency to look down, and the hat just looks kind of funny. All right.